Hello, my name is Chyann Pressley. Today I'm going to talk to you about who I am and who I want to be. 5 years ago, my life looked extremely different than it does today. 5 years ago, I was strung out on heroin and crack cocaine, homeless in Baltimore City. These weren't choices that I had planned for my life. Growing up as a little girl, I never expected to become homeless in the city, let alone be on drugs and making decisions that did not represent a whole life. I have got 3 items in front of me that represent different areas of who I am and who I want to be, and each object represents both of these aspects. The first object that I have is a monster truck. I am a 28-year-old mother of 2 who just recently got married and has begun an amazing, beautiful career for herself. This monster truck represents my past and my future. My past was a very fast, crazy ride. Things that happened that needed a little bit of durability. I had to be sturdy and strong to get through some of the trials and tribulations that I faced through the decisions that I made through my past. This truck is a toy that my son plays with often. He takes it around the table and he pushes it as fast as he can, making all of the noises. And this reminds me so much of where my life has come today. When I was talking about 5 years ago how my life was so much different than it is today, I was discussing about the fact that going through life in a fast forward motion gave little room for growth and opportunities outside of mistakes. Monster trucks go through the dirt and they go through the mud and they get stuck sometimes and have to be pulled out and get help from other people to assist them in that process. And that's exactly what happened for me. I needed help and assistance to move forward in my life. This truck represents the beautiful beginnings that my future holds for me. My future will also need a hard exterior. My future needs resiliency because exactly who I want to be requires me to continue to dig into the mud just from the opposite side of the street now. I'm no longer stuck in the mud myself, but trying to pull other people out of it. Which takes me into my second object, which is just a simple hair tie. This hair tie represents the elasticity that I had in my active addiction. I would get pulled every which way in areas, into situations I had no business being in. And through these situations, I was able to pull my hair back, to stand my ground, to stand up for myself and become the woman I am today. This hair tie for my future represents the places that I want to go. My future for me, if I was to choose, would be to work in Kensington, Pennsylvania with what most people call Walking Dead. This area of the city is overrun with drugs and alcohol, gang violence, and gun violence. This area will need something and someone to help them along the way, to pull their hair back, to tell them that they can do it, to be strong for them, to hold them in place when they feel as though they're gonna fall. And my third and final piece is an M. My daughter gave me this piece about 3.5 weeks ago, and she said, this M represents motivated moms. And that's exactly what I would love to say I am today. Everything I do, working 50 hours a week, going to school full time, and trying to balance life on its own, brings me to an area where motivation is my driving factor to not only help others, but to teach my daughter and my son that the life that they can live without the use of drugs and alcohol, with getting help for mental health therapy, through asking for help when they're in a vulnerable situation, is things that I wasn't taught as a child. My motivation comes from being able to give them a better life than what I had. These 3 objects represent the most beautiful and intimate parts of me. I no longer allow my past to define me, but it is a deciding factor in who I'm going to continue to be in my future.